to another episode of Talk Lavish. I'm your co-host, Pam.
I'm Manna.
And we have an amazing guest joining us in the hot seat for the very first time. He first graced the world in the early 90s with his presence as one of the most popular Bahamian TV show hosts of all time from Electric Air, and as more recently, the Charlie Bahama Show. Please welcome Charlie Bahama Smith.
All right. What's up, y'all?
It's truly an honor to have you, Charlie. I really do appreciate you taking time out your day to just sit with us. Your track record is just huge and it's long, and you have so much rich history that we as influencers can also learn from you. Yeah. The majority of our subscribers are also men, you know, and to be honest with you, a lot of them are actually influencers themselves. So when we have wonderful guests as yourself on our podcast that are kind of like doing the same things that we're interested in doing, it's mind-blowing to them and they love it. So thanks again. I really do appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna learn from you all too, because I've been at it for a while. So it's before internet, was around. Yeah. So I'm learning the influencer part. Like I have the history. Now I gotta, translate it to influencer part, which is what you guys, I like I say to a lot of people, like young people, they're like, they talk about, can you learn anything else? I'm like, I'm learning from you guys, So you have to always, keep your mind open to seeing what's out there, because the landscape has changed. I got to stop thinking just TV, because that's my background, TV.
Right.
TV has changed,
Right. So you're actually from New York, or are you from the Bahamas?
I am from both. So, and to be quite frank, right now I'm in New York. I was with this other really great, amazing guy, Salam Remy. He has Salam is, you'll have to do some research on Salam. He's one of the best producers he did Nas, Amy Winehouse, the Fugees.
Wow.
Salam is one of the best producers around, and a lot of other, Caribbean, Shinehead, Born Americans, and people like that. So I was with him the other day, and I'm up here, because I shoot in New York as well. Mm-hmm. So I was born in New York, in the Bronx, but I grew up in the Bahamas. So I have a mixed background. My dad's from the Bahamas, but my mom's Italian from the Bronx. So born in the Bronx, then we went down to the Bahamas, and that's where I did, my TV shows and everything. And so I'm based between, I do the New York, Miami, and the Bahamas.
Wow. You have a little accent.
Tomorrow I'm leaving New York. I'm going to Miami tomorrow. And then like a couple days later, I'll be going to the Bahamas to film some episodes there.
Wow. So I guess you got the best of both worlds. That's amazing. Wow, that's pretty cool. Awesome. Yeah, she was saying that you have a really strong accent, and I think I was like, well, is he from?
Well, it's not really strong, but you have an accent. You can tell that.
Oh yeah, for sure. So it depends where I'm at. It changes, and without going, because it's very, I guess a New York accent could almost be like Bahamian, but when I'm in the Bahamas, it's a lot stronger.
Yeah.
If I'm talking to a Bahamian, like if you watch on my Charlie Bahama YouTube channel, you see me doing stuff in the Bahamas or with Bahamians, you'll hear that Bahamian accent. If I'm doing more like, depending, I just had Morgan Freeman on, it's not as Bahamian. So it depends who I'm with, and it just happens,
That's truly amazing. So Electric Air, because Electric Air is kind of like, that's how I found you. I found you on Instagram. So man, I have to say, Electric Air, it has so much rich history. So how did Electric Air come about? Like, how did it find you, or how did you find Electric Air?
Hey, it's that New York Bahamas thing. So I was in New York, producing shows here in New York after college. And I did some stuff with the MTV type thing that, music videos, and that music TV thing was just, breaking. And I was like, we don't have this in the Bahamas. I said, I got to do this in the Bahamas. So I went back to the Bahamas and, started Electric Air. And the thing with the Bahamas, and also I think my style, Charlie Bahama, because I guess I was, sort of branded way back then, because I grew up in the age of the New Kids on the Block. My agent was Dick Scott, who was a legendary manager, and he started New Edition with Maurice Starr, and then New Kids on the Block. Marky Mark came out of that, Boys to Men, all of that. And so Marky Mark and all the, they'd say, yo, Charlie Bahama. Hey, Bahama Charlie from the Bahamas, so they branded me But stupid me, I didn't like, I'm like, no, it's not from the Bahamas only. You know, like it's a small town. You're like, no, I'm bigger than just the Bahamas.
Yeah.
But they were branding me. I should have gone with that. But anyway, now it's not too late. I'm doing that now. So when I went back to the Bahamas from New York, I'm like, let me do this show. A lot of celebrities are in the Bahamas, right? And my whole style is very laid back. Take your shoes off. I don't ask the typical question. So it seems like a lot of these stars, when they're on my show, as if I've known them forever. But like in 5 minutes, me and Morgan Freeman, and he's just joking away. Like they relax, they become different. And maybe also the Bahamas, people just act different. Like, in LA or New York, they got a lot of people there with the microphone in their, whatever.
Yeah.
And in the Bahamas is different. So I just slow it down. I'm jokey. I don't ask, like, I'm not asking the typical, like, so how's your movie doing? Or, like, I'm trying to go a little, different. I don't want to give the same thing. Right. So that's how we had the Beyoncés, the Biggie Smalls, the Stevie Wonders, Michael Jacksons, all these on Electric Air because they come to the Bahamas. I'm the only one. I go, hey, you want to do this? They're like, okay. And the reason they should call me One Take Charlie is because a lot of times, as you know, with celebs, they don't have a lot, they're handlers.
Yeah.
Or their managers are worse than the celebs. They're like, you got 5 minutes. So I'm like, okay, I can't mess up. I got 5 minutes. And because of my personality and just the fun, the 5 minutes would drag on because they would just be having fun. They're not like, okay, we got to go, And so that's how Electric Air started. And everybody would come down. I just go, hey, you want to be on the show? And they're like, okay, cool, Wow. And I also had a relationship with the record labels. So, because the show this was during the music videos. So the record labels would send me all their music videos to put on Electric Air. So if one of their artists were there, they'd say, oh, yo, Charlie, P. Diddy is in town, our Arista, bad boy. You want to do something with him? I'm like, sure, let's do it. And so that's how it started, that sort of just that connection with the record labels and studios and just word of mouth after a while. And a lot of these celebs became friends because of that just laid back kind of feel, And they were like, yo, let's hook up after, or let's, meet up in New York, because I would be traveling, or I'd go I remember with the Backstreet Boys, we were doing something in Bahamas, and then I was in LA. Well, in LA, one of my favorite places is Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. And so I right after I left the Bahamas with the Backstreet Boys, like about a month later, I'm in Roscoe's and one of them are in there. And we just hung out again, it's like, is that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's how Electric Air, started, and it just grew. And then it was on for 10 years. And so I traveled, I do other shows because I also, behind the scenes too, I direct music videos and album covers. So I did a whole month in South Africa with Miss World. And so when I was over there, I have my cameras. So I just did 2 episodes of my Electric Air in South Africa. I shot in Bali, Indonesia, Jamaica, Bangkok. I can't even remember. So whenever I go to one of these places, I'm usually shooting something else, but I'm like, hey, let's do a show while I'm here. So that's how Electric Air grew. And it launched me. There was another network called CSN, the Caribbean Satellite Network. It was the first Caribbean network. And because they saw me, I guess I was one of the top Caribbean type TV people. They're like, yo, you got to come on and be a VJ with the Caribbean Satellite Network. And so that was an international network too.
Wow. That's mind blowing within itself. That's crazy. So, and you've interviewed so many artists, and in Electric Air, it really was like the doorway for you to be able to, end up where you are now. And that's a blessing, within itself. So a lot of those entertainers and a lot of those international musicians, some of them are no longer here with us. That's why history is so rich with the that go on for, you said, a whole decade. So it's too many wonderful, mind-blowing artists that you actually interviewed. One of mine, particularly one of my favorites, was Aaliyah.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of ironically unfortunate and bittersweet that the Bahamas will be her last place where she actually did the video. So If you can take it back in time, because that was like the late 90s or something like that.
Yeah.
Can you recall the moment you met her? What was that experience like when you met her and interviewed her?
Yeah, so that was in Miami actually.
Oh,
Wyclef's thing, and Wyclef was a friend, and he was on my show like 3 or 4 times, and he had a big thing with Aaliyah. Who else was there? Black Eyed Peas before Fergie. They were on before Fergie. Usher. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people I don't even remember, but Aaliyah was very just so sweet and just sitting in the back. Her mom was there as well, and she's just quiet and just so serene and beautiful. And so we just went up and I said, hey, just do a little quick interview. She said, oh, sure, no problem. Her handlers were like, hey, you got 5 minutes kind of thing. That's why it was so quick. But she was cool. I mean, she was really sweet, and it was just really hectic backstage. There was a lot of people. I think I showed that in the clip because but she was just so sweet. I had a really good time with her, and her mom was there. And it's funny because even when Beyonce was on, that was with Destiny's Child. It was when they were in the beginning stages, and it was her mom was there too. And it was just the 4 of them and her mom, and they were the sweetest. Like, because I did the TV interview with them quick because MTV, they were shooting MTV summer, whatever that was, the summer thing they used to do. And they're like, they gotta go. That's why that was that quick. Because, Beyonce didn't even get a chance to say anything. They were like, so I'm like, wow. All right. But then I went back after they were finished. They're like, I did a radio show, and I have to digitize that because the radio show, we just sat together. And I said, man, I wish somebody had a photograph, because with the radio show, I had this little mic. And so all of us, I got like, Destiny's Child was beautiful. All 4 of them were beautiful. And I'm like, I had like a Destiny's Child sandwich. I'm sitting there with this mic because we're all together. So I said, if somebody took a picture of that, every guy in the world would be so jealous of me, cramped up on the couch with Beyonce and Kelly and all the girls. But the mom was there too, her mom, and they were the sweetest. I mean, really nice, just hardworking girls, and with their mom. That's something, I guess it sits with me because both of them, their mom was there, and it's good. Hey, any young, especially female artists, if their parents could stick with them, that'll be good.
Yeah. Wow. That's really amazing. It's a bittersweet moment, but it's like some of the artists are no longer here with us, but once again, that goes back to the rich history. You have a question? Yeah.
And you mentioned Aaliyah, and it is ironic that it was in Abaco in the Bahamas. Yeah. And 2 videos. I wish I was on her video. I wish I was the one doing it, because if I was directing that, I deal with planes and small things all the time. Yeah. And unfortunately, I mean, I'm not going to get into conspiracy, but unfortunately, probably a manager or one of the the people like, hey, let's go, we can do it. When the pilot tells you it's too heavy, he knows. So, but it's probably a handler or, somebody going, oh, we got to get back kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, that is bittersweet. I wish I was there for that, because anyway, I wish I was in Abaco with her, but.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, it seems like you took like a little back seat to like the entertainment business, it seems like. So like, what ignited you to pop back out, like reignite that fire that you got now, and what like inspired you then?
Yeah, so on air, at the same time, I'm behind the camera. So people don't, when you're behind the camera, they don't know. But I did album covers for Roots, for Betty Wright, Joss Stone. I did stuff, commercials. I direct commercials for KFC, FIFA. I have movies.
The backseat then. No.
So I didn't. I just took behind the camera. So
behind the camera.
So, and after I stopped the show, it was like 11 years. And I think the main thing is also I moved. I had a kid. So when you get a kid, you sort of want to settle. That's right. I was like, I can't do this trifecta. 1 month New York, 1 month Bahamas, 1 month by Miami. So I settled in Miami Beach because it's sort of between New York and the Bahamas. So I said, hosting the show is tough. So I'll just settle on, being behind the camera. And in the Bahamas, because it was a show people, like a lot of young people, everybody grew up on, and they're like, oh man, you got to bring that back. You got to bring that back. It's tough, to do a weekly show, getting the guests, even the advertisers deal with all that. So they'd always do that. And I go like, yo, if you get all the advertisers together and, and get it, do that part, I'll come back on. So, everybody goes, oh yeah, the network over in the Bahamas, they'd say that and they'd say that. So finally, Cable Bahamas, the other network, they're like, you got to do this show. We're going to pay you this. Now in the Bahamas is not a lot, so they don't pay you a whole bunch. I guess it's a smaller market, but they're like, we're going to pay you this and you got to do the show. So I'm like, okay. And it started, we made the agreement before COVID, then COVID hit. And so you couldn't go nowhere. But there was my locations manager in Miami. He had this beautiful Airstream and we would just sit there in front of it. So I was like, I got to do this show. And so it's outside. And, I just have the cameraman, we'd have a mask. And I'm like, you know what? As a joke, I'll do this, the show in front of the Airstream, like an Airstream's cool. And then, and I'm joking with him. And then you'll bring me, I don't know if you've seen Charlie Bahama,
yes,
but you bring me a drink and I'll never know your name kind of thing. And we're like laughing and joking about it. And I'm like, yo, that sounds actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
And so we did it because, and the other thing with the Airstream was like, they wouldn't know where I'm at. So I could be on an island.
Yeah.
Or, in the Bahamas, I could be here. Nobody knew because people in the Bahamas were like, dude, where do you keep that Airstream? I never seen that Airstream over here. I'm like, So that's what happened. And they said, you're doing this show. And so that's how come I came back. And it started out mainly with Bahamian entertainers, but then I added more, and then we're going to grow it more because that's my sort of my goal is to, back when Electric Air was on, it wasn't, where internet and you could just go upload and everything. Now you can do the show and you can put it on streaming services and everything. So that's what my plan is, to take Charlie Bahama and grow it. And at first it was going to be, bringing the best celebs, and interesting people to the Bahamas, the most beautiful locations. But what it is now is just wherever I am, wherever Charlie Bahamas is going to be that. So I'm going to make celebs, wherever it is, they're going to throw off their shoes and let their hair down. And it's going to be like a Charlie Bahama style of interview. And that's what it is. So it doesn't have to be only in the Bahamas. It could be anywhere, but wherever it is, they're going to be like just totally different than a Jimmy Fallon or, other type of interview. Mine's going to be very laid back, cool, and asking different type of questions.
That sounds really unique. And like, sounds cool. It's like you have like the Johnny Bahama, like the effect, you know what I mean? So like I'm bringing it to you instead of you coming to me. Like that's
right. But we will do Bahamas a lot too, because there are a lot of celebs in the Bahamas. The Bahamas is the place. I'm telling you. I mean, everybody goes there. Like, when something happens. I mean, even I don't know if you follow soccer. I don't follow soccer, but this big thing is this Messi came over. This soccer player Messi, he's the one who won FIFA and everything, and he went to Miami, and he went to the Bahamas first. I mean, everybody, Oprah's in the Bahamas all the time. Mariah had a place in the Bahamas. You name them.
Wow.
Tiger Woods is in the Bahamas. They all have a place. So the Bahamas is a jam.
Yeah, we definitely have to check it. We've been to Hawaii and Florida. We've never made it to the Bahamas yet, but unfortunately, hopefully, and one day we'll be able to experience.
Oh yeah. We can do it. We'll do. Hopefully, the Charlie Bahama Show will, explode like I wanted to be, and then Talk Lavish will come over and we'll do a shoot in the Bahamas where you all kick off your shoes and walk on the beach.
I'm sure the people in the community, they not only love but they respect you and all your hard work. Because I watched some of your clips where you actually go and you kind of like you visit the restaurants and you basically it's like a big kind of like a somewhat like a promotion for their business as well, because you're basically putting them on the map, and it's big for tourists like us to come experience, that's awesome. That's dope.
Right. So we do that, especially for those would be in the out islands so these are the smaller islands type thing where people, it's tougher to get tourists there. So that's why I go there, to let people see these little islands, and they're very special, when people go there, they change. Actually, I'm writing a film now called Eleutheria about that, where, it's like this, you just change your whole, persona, your whole outlook. You just relax and flex off all the stress. So, and that's what it is. So when you go, if maybe that's why I'm gonna talk lavish. You got to go to one of them out islands so you all could see.
Okay.
It's just a total different feel. So yeah, I do try to promote the places that people don't see as much.
That's pretty good. That's wonderful. I'm sure they really do appreciate that too. You mentioned the social media. How is that like in regards to, because like you mentioned, when Electric Air started and all these great mind-blowing accomplishments started, there was no such thing as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. I don't even have all of them. I just have Instagram. So how are you adapting to that now? Like, because that didn't exist. So now, how are you like stepping into the scene and going
I'm learning, because I and even from folks like yourselves, I'm learning, because what I found is these little, Electric Air clips, I had to digitize them, because originally they're on 3/4 inch tape, they're on beta TV tape. So you have to digitize them. They're older, they're sitting in the library. So now I'm dropping these little clips, and people are like on the web are like, just going at them and, reposting. Like even Jordan Peele with his Monkey Paw Productions, he just did that movie Nope, and he used a Bahamian artist in it, this guy called Exuma, who's just amazing. And he said Exuma was his inspiration for Nope, right? Wow. And so he reposted my thing, because I'm like, somebody sent me, say, hey, Jordan Peele just reposted your interview with Exuma, because I have the only interview, or I have probably one of the only interviews. So I did also, there's a group called the Bahama Men. Now you probably don't know the Bahama Men, but Who Let the Dogs Out.
Yes.
So I did all their music videos and their look and everything, and was a part of Who Let the Dogs Out. And so when VH1 and MTV did a show on them, I'm the only one with all the footage of the Bahama Men. And then before that, they actually used to be called High Voltage. And so I have that. So that footage. So people are interested in that footage. It's coming back around. So I got to use like the social media, just like put them little nuggets there.
Yes.
Because that's what I need to do, is start building a social media following, because now my TV show does well. I mean, it's the #1 show now in the Bahamas, but that's TV, right? But the younger folk, they watch it too, but they're more into this Instagram and and YouTube. I have the YouTube page too. So I'm trying to figure out how to build that up. I guess one way is everybody who listens and watches Talk Lavish, go to Charlie Bahama YouTube page and subscribe. It's free, and the Instagram, and follow. So that's the main thing. I was never a person to ask for things, I hate asking. So, but that's how you got to do it with the you got to ask. So
your timeline of success, I mean, it spans back. Let's see, I'm trying to add the math up, because Electric Air started in '89, right? '89.
Yeah, the first one was in '89. I say '90, but 1990, was when it really kicked in.
Right. So I was born in '89, so I'm 34 years old. So that was a long while ago. Okay, so you have like a scroll of just, it doesn't stop. It's like success after accomplishment after multi-award winning. It just doesn't stop. And for us and all of our followers, that's truly, truly inspiring. So what advice would you give to a lot of new influencers trying to adapt and trying to possibly one day reach that success, or that long scroll of success? What advice would you give to any of them?
So the thing is, the reality is, in terms of an influencer and having, figuring out how the landscape of social media, they may know more than me. I'm learning from them. But what I do have is, and what I think they need to do is, it's the work also. You might spurt up there and, get a whole bunch of followers, but you have to follow it up. So it's the work. I know, and how to edit, I know how to shoot. I know every aspect of my industry.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted to know. So it helps. That's why they call me One Take Charlie, because I know what the cameraman is looking at. I know what the audio guy wants. I know what the editor wants. Mm-hmm. So I make their life easier. So it's the work, getting up early, staying up late, working at your craft. So if you're serious and you really want to do this, you got to work at your craft. You got to put in that work. And so that's the main thing. And also always keep your mind open. Like I said, a lot of young people like, oh, wow. I feel old sometimes. They're like, I grew up on that. I'm in film because of you. I'm doing TV because of you. And I go like, yeah, I'm watching you though, because I want to see, what you're doing. You got to always keep learning. So always keep your mind open to learn. So with social media, folks. And the other thing I'll tell you, what I'm not a gotcha person. So I don't I could really have a lot more followers and different people if I went the sensationalism route. Mm-hmm. I don't do that. I won't do anything that's against my spirit, or I'm not going to try and get 1 million followers by posting some celebrity picking their teeth, or you know what I mean. I don't want nobody. I owe nobody money, and nobody could say Charlie made me look bad.
Yeah.
So I'm the one, if you watch my show or anything, if it's a funny thing, I'm the one who is is the one getting pranked or whatever. I won't prank somebody else. It's always me that looks the fool, and I like it that way. I'll always, do that. So it's don't do anything against as somebody, my grandmother said, don't do anything you don't want your mom to see.
Right.
No?
Right. So this interview has truly been an honor. I can't believe they were actually sitting and talking to you and looking at you in person. Because back in the day, I seen you all the older videos. You had longer hair, and I don't think
I had hair. I don't got no hair no more.
Wow.
As soon as I got a daughter, all the hair went.
Right. That's what girls do. Thank you so much. And hopefully, eventually, maybe one day, if we don't see you at the Bahamas, maybe we'll run into you on the red carpet. Who knows?
Oh, I hope so. It was really fun, talking with you guys, and much success with your career and Talk Lavish. And this ain't gonna be the last time. So we'll definitely be doing stuff together.
Yes. So. Sounds good. Wonderful, sir. Until next time, guys. You take care. Thank you so much.
All right. Peace, everybody.